Hey everyone, it's Chris here from the Protocase team. Today I want to give you an overview of the new array tool that's in Protocase Designer. This particular tool will allow the user to create a linked group of any number of objects placed on the face of the enclosure or part. This includes objects such as pens, cutouts, or images. Using this tool, we can position the objects relative to each other or moved as a group, which is super useful for keeping alignment and maintaining even spacing between the objects. So first, I'm going to open up a panel after changing the material and powder coat preferences. Once I'm in the 3D viewer, I'm going to click on Edit Face and go into the 2D Face Editor. We're going to go ahead and create an object, such as a circle cutout, that's going to be aligned into an array or a pattern. Once placed, I'm going to make sure that the cutout is highlighted, and then select the Array tool in the left-hand side toolbar. After clicking the Array tool, you're going to see a prompt that asks you to select the array type. There are three different types to choose from: linear, rectangular, and circular. I'm going to show you an example of each, starting with linear. Linear, as the name suggests, will create a line of objects. Once selected, you will set parameters for different dimensions. For linear, you will set the angle, which is the angle from the x-axis to create the array, spacing, which is the distance between objects in the array, and quantity, which is the number of objects in the array. So for this example, I'm going to leave the angle at 45 degrees, change the spacing value to 3, and leave the quantity at 3. You're going to see the array created from the values that we inputted. It is important to note that the objects inside the pattern can be edited in the right-hand Properties field. The parameters are for the entire group. And after creating a linear array, you can also adjust the length of the group of objects. You can also adjust an array by clicking and dragging one of the snap points. The array can be moved or resized without having to use the parameter menu on the right-hand side. Next, we will delete the current array and add a single rectangle cutout as our object. This time, when we select the cutout, choose Array tool and select Circular Array. The circular array is going to take your initial object and repeat it around that placed object in a circular shape. Once selected, we will have different options for the parameters for circular array, and these parameters are total radius, which is the radius of the outmost row, number of rings, which is the number of rows of objects, and quantity in first ring, which is the number of objects that are found in the first circle. So for this example, I'm going to change the total radius value to 2.5, the number of rings to 2, and the quantity in first ring to 6. So there you have an example of a circular array. As you can see, in the center is my original object, with my first ring having 6 objects, as I instructed the software to do so. My circular array also has 2 rings around the initial object that I started with. Now remember, you can change the parameters of the group after you set the array, with more options for a circular array, such as changing the object spacing, which is the total space between rows of objects. Lastly, let's work on another single cutout and try the rectangular array. As you might guess, this is going to take your initial object and repeat it so that it creates a rectangular shape. Once selected, you will be setting parameters for x spacing, which is the spacing along the x-axis, y spacing, which is the spacing along the y-axis, x quantity, which is the number of columns in the pattern, and y quantity, which is the number of rows in the pattern. For this example, I'm going to change the x and y axis spacing to 1.75, the x-axis quantity to 4, and the y-axis quantity to 3. So there you have a rectangular array with 3 rows and 4 columns. In the Properties menu on the right-hand side, you can also change the height of the array and also the width of the array as well. So one final important note to remember when making your array is after they are created on the face, they are automatically grouped together, but can be ungrouped by selecting the Ungroup button on the right-hand Properties panel. However, be sure to have your snap function turned off in order to have your objects properly spaced. And once the group of objects are ungrouped, they cannot be turned back into an array unless you go through the Array tool process again. So there you have an overview of the new array tool in Protocase Designer. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you have any questions about this feature or any other part of Protocase Designer, please either check out the wiki or email us at info@protocasedesigner.com. Thanks for watching.